Lamar Jackson is going to be the next black quarterback to win the Super Bowl since Doug Williams 37 years later when he defeats the Detroit Lions in Super Bowl 59 over at New Orleans. Now, why Detroit? Well, you think about the significance of a black quarterback winning the Super Bowl 37 years ago when we're in 2025. The cities with the highest concentration of African Americans, Detroit's number 3. They have one of the highest concentration of African Americans in the country. And no surprise Lamar plays on the Ravens because obviously the Ravens are one of the Baltimore is one of the top cities with the highest concentrations of African Americans. So this is kind of where this milestone Super Bowl is going to happen involving the city of Detroit because the city of Detroit has the highest concentration of African Americans, number 3 in the country, only to South Fulton and Jackson, Mississippi. You think about Lamar Jackson a little bit there, Mississippi. So that's one. As I've already said, Doug Williams is from Zachary, Louisiana, but Dan Campbell, the Saints are hosting the Super Bowl. Dan Campbell was the assistant coach of the Saints before he joined the Lions. So he would go over to the Saints Stadium as the head coach to appear in that particular Super Bowl. The Lions were founded in the year 30. In the year 30, that has everything to do with the Ravens improving the 3-0 in the Super Bowl. I kind of talked about how Joe Flacco's 30 and the other team to play in the city of Baltimore is the Colts having Gamache at 30. So, sorry, Lions fans, your team's scripted to lose the Super Bowl. It's too bad, but it's the script. Lamar Jackson has 30 touchdowns, his season high with the Louisville Cardinals. So, just kind of add that into perspective. He had a total of, his season high was 51 total touchdowns. He had 45 in 2017, but that's a glimpse of it. As far as the Gematria goes, next year would be the Lions' 95th season in the NFL. 95 being the Gematria of Baltimore. Baltimore's Gematria 95. Gematria practice going letters and words into numbers. Dan Campbell is Gematria of New Orleans, Louisiana. Dan Campbell having Gematria 38 is Gematria of Louisiana. How about the last black quarterback to win a Super Bowl over at San Diego? San Diego's 38. Russell Wilson's not 100% black. Patrick Mahomes is mixed, So, we haven't seen a full-blooded black quarterback win Super Bowl 22. That's the general point. Jared Goff, he lost the Super Bowl at Atlanta, Georgia. Atlanta, Georgia is 59, so Jared Goff, he's going to make it to the Super Bowl 6 years after losing for Tom Brady's 6th Super Bowl title, which is interesting because New England is also Gematria of New Orleans. If you want to tie into New Orleans with all this, New Orleans is also Gematria of Jared Goff, of Dan Campbell, and of Lamar Jackson. Lamar is Gematria 45. So, the city of Baltimore, their teams are going to win 4 out of the 5 Super Bowls, and I see this happening against the Detroit Lions. Detroit is Gematria 37. Lamar Jackson is Gematria 37. Super Bowl victory over Detroit in the horizon to be the next black quarterback to win the Super Bowl 37 years after Doug Williams. That's kind of the significance of 37. Civil rights is Gematria 64 as it relates to African Americans. Michigan is also Gematria 64. New Orleans Saints is Gematria 64. And interesting, it's also Campbell that's Gematria 64. Once I type it into the calculator, Campbell is Gematria 64. Now, how about in 38 points for the Ravens, too? It's Louisiana. That's Gematria 38. The 22nd day, October 22nd, Doug Williams, Super Bowl 22 victory. So what's the significance of October 22nd in the previous year to the Super Bowl next year, 2025? So I do like how it would be exactly 68 weeks later. We could see this matchup in the championship game. It's championship. That's Camacho 68. How about the Lions team total championships? Their last championship in the year 57. So now it's the year 57. That's 1957, which adds up to 22 Doug Williams Super Bowl victory. And 2024, so that'd be close to 67 years later that they can win the Super Bowl again. Now, they defeated the Browns in that game. The Lions scored 59 points in that game, so imagine if they do make it to Super Bowl 59. Now, and there's a total of 73 points in this game, and Jackson is Gamache 73. And then they won by 45 points. Lamar, Gamache 45, New Orleans 45. Dan Campbell started out with Miami 45, and the Baltimore Colts, they won the Super Bowl at Miami, Super Bowl 41. I made the connection there with Peyton Manning. You can see at the end of the video. But their 91st season in Detroit next year. Detroit is Gamache 91. It used to be called the Louisiana Superdome. What's Louisiana Superdome in Gematria? Well, Louisiana Superdome is Gematria of Jackson, having Gematria 73 to put that to perspective. Franchise was founded in Portsmouth, Ohio. What's Portsmouth, Ohio? Okay, this game was played on the 29th day, so the Super Bowl's on a day of 2-9, February the 9th. Gematria of Detroit, Michigan. Detroit, Michigan, the Lions' last title is also Gematria of New Orleans, Louisiana. So, how many teams have played in a Super Bowl? Which team is next to make it to the Super Bowl? So there have been 28 teams who failed to make it to a Super Bowl. So Campbell is Gematria 28. The Lions can be the 29th team to appear in a Super Bowl on a date of February the 9th, the date out to see a black quarterback win the Super Bowl, Lamar Jackson, in the Ravens' 29th season in existence. Let's see, the Lions is Gematria 39. I haven't figured out that part there with 59 yet. Detroit Lions is 76. What about Zachary, Louisiana? San Diego, California, for starters. Doug Williams. Doug Williams NFL debut. Okay, let's go to Super Bowl 22 quickly. Who did Doug Williams beat in the NFC Championship game the year he won the Super Bowl? That's something to investigate. Williams is Gematria 35, and then, Redskins scored 35 points in the first half. Total 45 points. Gematria of New Orleans, Gematria of Lamar. And then right there, 35 prior quarterbacks to win the Super Bowl until he's the next black quarterback to win the Super Bowl because Patrick Mahomes is not black. He's mixed. He's got some white blood. 29 attempts. Kind of fitting. February the 9th. Next time we can see them win the Super Bowl. Now, which season was this for the Redskins? The 1987 season. So, okay, he defeated Minnesota in that title game. I was like, wonder if he would have beaten Detroit, but interesting. Vikings is also Gematria 37. Doug Williams beat the Vikings before winning the Super Bowl, and then now Lamar Jackson being the next black quarterback after beating Detroit in the Super Bowl 37 years after Doug Williams won the Super Bowl. To be the 36th quarterback to win the Super Bowl, Lamar Jackson, Redskins, Gematria 36. Now I want to go to the time that Lamar Jackson was drafted. So 2018 draft, Lamar Jackson, 31 prior picks. You know, the Baltimore Colts played 31 seasons over there. April 26th of 2018. How much time until Lamar wins the Super Bowl? So, Lamar Jackson, right there, it would be the 82nd month ever since he was drafted. Over 81 months later. Baltimore Ravens. The Baltimore Ravens is Gematria of 81, and then Doug Williams is born at Zachary, Louisiana. Zachary is Gematria of 82. So 82 months after Lamar was drafted, he would win the Super Bowl. What about the birthplace of Lamar Jackson? You know, Pompano Beach. Pompano is Gematria 36 quarterback to win the Super Bowl in the 90 prior seasons for the Lions. Pompano Beach is also Gematria of Zachary Doug Williams. Indeed. And Douglas is also Gematria of the year 2025. So their last title game was when they defeated the Browns. And they can make it to another title game in their 91st season. But the Lions going to lose the Super Bowl. Baltimore's going to win. Teams from Baltimore would win 4 out of their 5 Super Bowls to be 4-1. What about the amount of time that Dan Talk became the coach of the Detroit Lions? So so 2021 he became the coach on January 20th. 2021, what's that time span in 2021 to the time of the Super Bowl? So let's check it out. Maybe the 49th month. New Orleans, Louisiana's 49. Washington, Doug Williams, Super Bowl victory, 49. What about black quarterback? Dan Campbell, he won Super Bowl 44 with the Saints at Miami, and 15 Super Bowls he would make it again. He was I think he was a player. 91 total receptions. So imagine if he does make the Super Bowl in his 91st season, but He's gonna lose the Super Bowl. It's only gonna be uh, basically again. Funny how Daniel Campbell is Gematria Pompano Beach, where Lamar Jackson is from. Interesting, interesting. Lions are going to lose the Super Bowl against Baltimore. Now, this was a 36-day numerology. Now, when the Lions lose the Super Bowl, they're going to lose to the 36th quarterback ever to win the Super Bowl. Now, this was the NFL championship game, the 25th championship game, 2025. The Lions' next championship appearance against the Ravens. Ravens, Gematria 25. In the year 25, the Ravens, there will be 7 wins. It's going to be 7 wins out of 8 games against the Lions. Utter domination. 78 is the Gematria of the Lions' last title against Cleveland, and 78 is also Gematria of City of New Orleans. So Lions set to win that scripted Super Bowl. Jared Goff, he lost the Super Bowl on February the 3rd of 2019. And Goff, he would lose 6 years, 6 days later in a title game. Titles Gematria 66. Baltimore Ravens, Gematria 66. He'd lose the title game just over 72 months later. The 73rd month, Jackson 73. And Jared Goff faced Gematria 72. So 72 months later, I expect him to lose the Super Bowl. And of course, and as the Ravens are improved to 3-3 in the AFC Championship game, 3 wins in 6 games, like the 36 quarterback. Loser Lions, it's gonna be 0-2. Then it's gonna be 0-3. Funny how when the Lions lost their first NFC Championship game, the Redskins, they won that Super Bowl, but Doug Williams wasn't the quarterback that year. So that'd be 33 years later that the Lions would appear in their first Super Bowl since their first NFC Championship game loss when they allowed 41 points. That's Gematria of Baltimore. Just think about that for a second.